Captain Ibrahim Traore has arrived in Moscow, Russia.
Yeah.
What is happening? How positive or negative effect?
So currently there's something which is really ongoing. We've been giving our audiences and our viewers back-to-back updates about Ibrahim Traore, and if you're following us on this particular platform, by now you should be abreast of the fact that the US is now conniving, or perhaps is now in connection with the United States of America, and their main objective is that they want to topple the government of
Captain. The UN is in
the US, the United States of America, is in meeting or is in connive. I don't know the word to use because I want to choose my words very carefully. But then these two countries are now
with who? US with who?
The United States of America with France.
Okay.
They are now, in secret meeting, and they are now weighing the options because they just last 2 weeks came out to say that Ibrahim Traore is now a threat. And that whatever he's doing in Burkina Faso is just to enrich himself and also to make sure that his government continue to benefit from the regime. So we've been giving you back-to-back updates, and the name of that officer who sent the report to the United States CID and the Pentagon is Michael E. Langley. Yes, we gave a full report about that. But then today we've realized that in all of these things, in all of these happenings and news and all of that, Ibrahim Traore is still staying and standing strong, because just this morning news we are getting is that Ibrahim Traore arrived in Moscow. Now let's put this particular video on the screen on your side for people to know. So this was the time that Captain Ibrahim Traore arrived this morning in Moscow, and the reason why this meeting is going on is not like Ibrahim Traore wants to run to Russia because he fears that France, the West, and also the United States of America, they want to topple his government. No, Russia President Vladimir Putin invited him to come, and then this meeting is based on three fronts. Number one is the economy. Number two is military cooperation, and also the economy in terms of what these two countries can do together. And number three basically has to do with how they can help Burkina Faso. So if you don't know what is really going on, Russia is now positioning itself in a way that, okay, see, we are Russia. Okay, how best can we help Ibrahim Traore? Now Russia wants to provide Burkina Faso with what we call a nuclear plant, and this particular nuclear plant, that is what most countries in the West, that's what they use, and that's why you don't have these lights out and electricity going off and on. So they want to do the same thing in Burkina Faso. So aside from the fact that they want to strengthen both their military cooperation, both countries their ties, what they also want to do is they want to rebuild Burkina Faso for it to be the beacon of Africa. And look at this, the figures show that Burkina Faso's GDP was sitting somewhere $16.22 billion. Now Burkina Faso's GDP has risen to $22.3 billion. So the GDP is basically the gross domestic product. Now, this snippet that you are watching was when Ibrahim Traore, together with his ministers and cabinet, they arrived to meet Vladimir Putin, and realized that Vladimir Putin, when he was shaking hands with Ibrahim Traore, he was happy. You could see that the joy on his face, like, hey, welcome, we are with you. We understand that Russia and the United States, they want you out of power, but don't worry, we can work together. We can make your country a better one. We can help you, even we can help so your country can have a successful elections, and the country can even carry on in terms of democratic rule. So these are all some of the things which is really happening. Now, the video that we are going to watch now is how Ibrahim Traore turned a celebrity in Moscow, Russia. Let's watch this particular video because this video basically says it all. Let's just watch this video. When we come back, we give you more.
Je suis le tombeau pour ça. Je vous en prie. Je suis de la Guinée, monsieur le. Merci.
Ouais, les voitures sont où? Le car est là. Oui.
C'est vraiment une fierté.
Nous venons là vers nos voitures, ainsi que le président. Donc on va là. Si vous voulez, on va d'abord ramener le président.
Bon, écoutez, on s'en va. Alexandre. Alexandre. C'est bon. C'est bon. Ok. C'est bon. Venez pas là.
And everybody wants to be associated.
Exactly, he is the man of the moment. So you realize that many dignitaries also arrived from many other countries, but then Ibrahim Traore, just like how he stole the show at Ghana's inauguration, during Mohammed's inauguration as the president, he also had the same reception in Moscow. And you could realize that it's not just Africans in diaspora who were rushing to take pictures with him. We had even white people saying, hey, can I take a picture with you? And you see that his security was so tight that they were saying, it's okay, he can't take 1,000 pictures within a minute. Everyone wants to associate himself with Ibrahim Traore. So it just tells you that even though France and the United States is saying that this guy is a threat to Burkina Faso's existence, a threat to Burkina Faso's, democracy and all of that, the people in Burkina Faso and also Africans in diaspora, they are having a different view about Ibrahim Traore. And I think this is something which is really, really, really mind-boggling, and the whole world is paying attention to this particular man. He's now in Moscow. Yeah.
People are asking, where was France and the United States when democracy was tearing Burkina Faso apart? So
that's a very intelligent and a very smart question, because the argument that many countries or many Africans in diaspora, the argument they were making is that, see, Burkina Faso had a civilian rule. They had elections, they had a democratic elected president. But then these cabinets and these heads of state, they were misusing the money. Okay, a critical example is, you realize that last 3 years, when the wave of coup d'etat started springing up or started coming up across the West African states. I mean, talk about Gabon, Guinea, Niger, Burkina Faso, and all of that. You realize that there was these. When the military raided the homes of these former heads of state, some of them even had money
packed in Ghana's go backs.
And some were even fleeing, and the money that they were fleeing with, it was
huge.
And yes, the people were in those countries suffering. They lack hospital beds, they lack roads, they were suffering, they lack amenities.
Nothing.
And then it's like the whole economic or the whole democracy was favoring only the people at the top, the elites. Those who claim we've gone to school, we are the elite, we can speak good better Francophone or better French or good English. They were the people. They, together with their wives, their children, their family, they were the only people who were enjoying. So that's a big question, that when this money was being misused, okay, in the name of democracy, in the name of civilian rule, where was France? France could have easily sanctioned these people. France could have easily raised an alarm that these heads of state, they are misusing their money. The money. They wouldn't. And most of these former heads of state too, when they steal the state's money, they go and hedge it in these foreign countries. They hedge it in France, they hedge it in UK, they hedge it in the United States of America. They do huge investments, and they carry their children, their great-grandchildren, their wives, their side chick. Every one of them is enjoying. Meanwhile, the layman, the people down there, they are suffering. So that's the big question. Now, we realized that last year, there was this Nigeria energy minister, oil minister, who was charged, okay, because apparently she stole a sum of almost $500 million, and she used it to purchase yachts, boats, houses, and stuff in the United States of America. And the United States realized that this woman basically was stealing, so they had to arrest her, seize the money, sell the asset, and refund it to the Nigerian government. So last year, like this, I think 100 million of those funds were returned, and subsequently all the others will also be returned. So that's a big question that people are asking. Where was the United States of America? Where was France? We realize that we understand that these are countries who want civilian democratic rule, for us to speak freely like the press and all of that. But then there are things which are going on unchecked. Okay, and that is how come someone can enter into politics even here in Ghana, and within a span of just 1 or 2, 3 years, the person is a millionaire. It happens in Ghana, it happens in Nigeria, it happens in Burkina Faso, it happens in Ivory Coast, it happens in South Africa, it happens in Mali. So the whole politics and the whole civilian rule, the government stuff is only favoring the rich, and that is why Burkina Faso is saying that Russia is saying that we want to change Burkina Faso, because if Russia is able to, help transform Burkina Faso into a better city, what it does, it kind of creates an impression that perhaps Russia is not the villain, or even if it's the villain, we can also work with them to achieve economic stability. We can work with them to have a nuclear plant which can power our electrical appliances and not everyday lights out and all of that. So that is, but in all of these things, there's also one good news here. This particular man, you should know him. His name is Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un. Now, according to African Hub, it says Korean President Kim Jong-un has promised to support Ibrahim Traore with every military support if any foreign country or any foreign adversary decides to invade Burkina Faso. So, in all of this, remember, United States of America has a history of toppling governments. Critical example is what happened in Libya. The United States of America, under the leadership of Barack Obama, they assassinated Libya President Gaddafi. It is there because they said Gaddafi was a threat to Africans and also the Libyan people. So they toppled his government. So people have that notion and the assertion that it is going to be a repetition of what happened in Libya if you can't entice the people or engineer the people to stage a coup d'etat and topple or sack Ibrahim Traore from power, then we ourselves will go there and do the job. We have the equipment, we have the power, we have everything. But now you are realizing that these countries like Russia, North Korea, are even yesterday we were hearing that even Japan, they were considering having a sort of partnership or backing to Burkina Faso. So it is going to be a hard thing for France and the United States to just get inside and topple Burkina Faso. And Trump is looking at this with two lenses, because Trump has said he doesn't really want to engage himself in any other war. He just wants to focus on the United States of America. So realize that when he came, he's trying to solve the Israel-Hamas war, kill or perhaps end the war. He's trying to also end the Ukraine-Russia conflict. And even recently, in regards with the Indian and also Pakistan, the conflict that they are currently having, Trump spoke against it. So Trump is not a fan of entering into people's country, toppling, because whenever you enter into people's country, you topple their government. What you have to do next is to stage a military presence there to stabilize. Else it's basically like you went there and did nothing. So you have to be in the country for like a year or two. The equipment, the radars, the technology, the staff, the military, all these things are billions and billions of dollars of manpower, services and stuff. So Trump doesn't want to really waste money on those. He just wants to focus on America. So I'm sure Trump will be looking at this and say, if the people think in Burkina Faso, say, we want this man to rule us maybe for now. Yeah, okay. But immediately the people of Burkina Faso start revolting, start complaining that, hey, we don't want Ibrahim Traore again. It's over. He's been president. We are not seeing anything. Then at the end of the day, I think the United States will have every right, or the France will have enough reason to invade Burkina Faso. One thing you also realize that Guinea-Bissau, Guinea's president, he was a military leader, Damboya. Damboya also came in as a military ruler, but what he did early this year is he allowed a free and fair elections and he won. So I think as time goes on, Ibrahim Traore should look ahead, and he should also have an insight of transition. He should allow maybe a democratic election, a civilian election to go on. And when a civilian election goes on, basically what will happen is at the end of the day, people will say, okay, it's basically like a referendum on the good works or the track record of Ibrahim Traore. If the people want you, they're going to vote you in power. If they don't want you, they're going to kick you out. And I also understand the reason why Ibrahim Traore is very hesitant of basically having having elections now, because each and every month there's coup d'etat. So at least there should be a bit of calm. for us to have the elections. If he wins, fine. If he doesn't win, I believe he's created a mark which is so much far better than his predecessors.
So based on the details, can we say the UN has failed? Because
the UN basically, I wouldn't say it has failed, but then it needs to do some reassessment. You realize that when Donald Trump came, he really said, we are not going to support the UN like we used to. We are giving them billions and billions of dollars. We are going to cut that money, let's say 1/4, and just give them 1/4 of it and save the rest. Because the UN is there, and at the end of the day, it's like they are just there to talk and do humanitarian aids. But then the real work, as in bringing down corruption, making sure African leaders who are involved in corrupt activities are visa banned, are arrested, Interpol chases them, freezes their account. Those are the things you are not seeing. Meanwhile, UN allows these same leaders to come to the United Nations headquarters in Geneva and even the United States of America to give a speech. Let's welcome the president of, and these are the same leaders who are basically taking all the money, and the innocent civilians are suffering.
Wishing you all the best, and we hope to hear the best of the best from them. We'll keep you updated.